What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so I kind of want to sit down and redo some old Ultimate comic books we did in the past to see if I can do a better job in telling these stories to you guys, because I do know that a lot of fans out there love the Ultimate Marvel universe. And even though we did cover the entire universe, there were some books early on I felt like I did a horrible job on, and I kind of want to go back and redo some of those books. And that includes Ultimate, Daredevil, and Elektra. Now, this book was technically the origin of Electra in the Ultimate Marvel universe, but also giving us a look at Daredevil as well in the Ultimate Marvel universe. Now, this was not his first appearance. He actually first appeared back in Ultimate X-Men, I want to say issue number 36. I could be wrong on that one, but he did appear fighting alongside with Spider-Man and also Wolverine. But shortly after, we got this book right here to kind of give us a better look of the early days of Matt Murdock, but to also get the full understanding of how Electra turned into a bad guy in the Ultimate Marvel universe. Now, the book was actually written by Greg Rucka, and this was Greg really trying to give us a good look at Electra early on when she was still a happy young lady starting university. And so as we dive into the opening pages of this book, we see her arriving to her dorm and meeting her dorm mate, Phoebe McAllister. Now, Phoebe is going to be kind of like a support character for Electra, so we're going to see a lot of her in this book, but we do see the two characters being able to bond with one another. And honestly, it's pretty great to see these two characters building a friendship with one another. But early on, we do learn that Electra's mother died a while back, right after she turned 6, and her father was trying his best to run his dry cleaning service. Now, while doing that, he had a hard time being a single father, and so he put his daughter into martial arts, and that kind of explained where she learned all her different fighting skills. And so just like that, we establish a lot of things for this character of Electra in the Ultimate Marvel universe. Now, Greg Rucka does an amazing job introducing the character that's going to challenge Electra to begin the process of her going down a dark path, and that will be Calvin Langstrom. Now, Calvin is your usual bully on campus, and the kid believes that because he has a lot of money and his dad is a very powerful figure in New York, he feels like he is untouchable. And so we actually see him picking on a young woman known as Melissa Beckerman. Now, Melissa is also going to be very important in this book as well. But you do have Electra and Phoebe being able to stand up to Calvin to have him back off Melissa. Now, at first, he does try to attack Electra, but she is able to use her martial arts skills to protect herself, but also show him like, hey, I'm not somebody you want to mess with, so back off. And you then have all three young ladies leave to get away from him. Now, you do have Phoebe and also Melissa being able to meet Electra Sensei as a way to kind of get some idea of martial arts to protect themselves in self-defense. But it also gives us another example to see how advanced Electra is when it comes to her martial arts skills. In a way, it's kind of like, hey, she could actually be out there fighting against crime as a vigilante because she knows how to fight. She knows how to protect herself, but she knows how to take down her opponents. And for Melissa and also Phoebe, seeing the way she moves, it kind of gives them more motivation to learn more things about martial arts. Now, later on in the week, you do have Electra being able to meet Matt Murdock, and really it was love at first sight, because while she was walking into the gym, she was able to see him go through some gymnastics routine, but kind of showing how great he is while doing it, but being able to show that he's able to hold himself. And so for Electra, it was love at first sight. Now, for Matt Murdock, he's just like his main Marvel Universe counterpart, where he is blind, but his other senses were enhanced. And so when he walks by her, he was able to figure out that somebody is looking at him, but also kind of knew that maybe she kind of liked him, and really he liked her back. And so really you had these two characters kick it off automatically, but he didn't tell her his name and vice versa. They go their separate ways. And so you had the ladies go back to the dorm room, where you have Melissa tell Phoebe, who was not there when Elektra had met Matt Murdock, how Elektra was just starstruck, how she instantly fell in love with the man. Now, as soon as you have Melissa explain what the guy looked like, Phoebe knew who he was. She's all like, oh, that's Matt Murdock. He's going to be a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. And for Elektra, that was just enough to hopefully find the man and hopefully get with the man. And honestly, it does not take that long, because the following day you have Elektra being able to see and meet Matt Murdock, but also she meets Foggy Nelson. Now, Foggy Nelson in this reality is just a footnote. Like, he's not really important at all. He's just there to be there because fans know that Matt Murdock's best friend is Foggy. But while you have the two characters being able to meet one another, just like that, Matt gives her flowers and then go on a date, and everything goes great for them both. Except when you have Phoebe and also Elektra get back to their dorm room, they find the dorm room door open. And when they walk inside, they find Melissa. And unfortunately, it does seem like Melissa has been assaulted in a very horrible way. And so as we dive into the second chapter, we actually see that when it comes to Calvin, they're not going to do anything at all when it comes to the police department trying to arrest him. Now, really at first, it does seem like maybe Melissa is not really sure that it was Calvin who had assaulted her, but she definitely knows it was him. She saw his face, but really it's more of the police officers being scared to go after him because who his father is. Like I said earlier, his father is a very powerful person in New York, a powerful figure. And so it's the police saying like, hey, we can try, but the problem is we can't promise you that we can succeed in actually arresting him for what he did to her. And so for Elektra and Phoebe, that man has to pay for what he had did to Melissa. Now, later on in that week, we do pick up with Phoebe, Matt, Foggy, and also Elektra hanging out in the common area. Now, with them hanging out in the common area is really more of us learning that Melissa went back home as a way to get away from the university. Now, this is not her dropping out. She'll come back, but she wants some time away from the university. Now, we also learned that Melissa has not told her parents at all. And the reason why, because she barely got their approval to allow her to come to this university that's far away from home. And so if they find out, then most likely they're going to force her to come back home. But here's the problem. You see, when it comes to Melissa, she might have to go to court as a way to get Calvin in trouble. But the problem is, if she does go to court, well, then her parents are for sure going to find out. And so it does seem like Calvin might get away with this because her parents cannot find out what happened to her. Now, Calvin does walk into the room, and we do learn the police had actually dropped the entire investigation. And it kind of shows again that this man's money is helping him get out of horrible situations. Now, we do get a page where you have Phoebe go into the women's bathroom to write something on the stalls in one of the bathrooms. And apparently there's a list on this bathroom stall where you put a guy's name down to kind of help women know that this man will most likely try to assault you. And so she put down Calvin's name to warn other women. Now you have Elektra stop by the police department to get confirmation that yes, when it comes to Calvin's case, it is officially getting dropped. And for Elektra, she wants to know why. And you have the officer tell her like, hey, is his father. Like, that man is a very powerful man. He was able to make us drop it just like that. It came from the higher ups in our department. And so unfortunately, Calvin is getting away with this crime. Now, with the police department dropping the case, it really does show Electra is now beginning to go down the dark path. And the reason why, because she's now believing the law does not actually work in America. Because look, this kid who has money was able to make the law look in the other direction so that he's able to get away with a crime that he had committed to one of her friends. Now, for her father, he does tell her that he does believe in the law, but he has no idea what's going on right now when it comes to Electra and her friend group. Now, Melissa does come back home, but she does head over to the dojo where Electra trains at. And you do have Electra Sensei, better known as Stone, begin to train Melissa to learn some more self-defense skills, just in case Calvin does try again to do something to her. Now, you have Electra actually use the skills that she had learned over the years to allow her to sneak herself into the room of Trey. Now, this is Electra telling Trey, look, I was able to get this close to you in the middle of the night. I could easily kill you if I wanted to, but then if I do that, I'll be just like you. And so this is Electra saying, this is your one warning. If you come near my friends ever again, that warning is going to change into something even worse. And for sure, you are going to be scared of me. And so we're hoping to see Calvin back off, but telling you now, he's most likely not going to back off at all. Now, after you have Electra leave the apartment of Calvin, well, she runs into Matt Murdock. Now, this is Matt Murdock just out in the middle of the night, but he's wearing his classic black suit where it's right before he actually wears the Daredevil suit. And so with the mask on, she's unable to realize that she's fighting against Matt Murdock, but he knows it is Electra thanks to his enhanced senses. And so you have the two characters go back and forth for a while, but you didn't have Electra being able to get away. But after she does get away, we do get confirmation that yes, Matt knew it was Electra, and he kind of knows that what she just did, that she went into the apartment of Calvin to make a threat towards him. Now, like I said, Calvin is going to begin the process of Electra kind of going down this dark path. But at first, we see her trying to stay on the light path because she does go over to Matt Murdock's apartment in the morning where she wants to lay down bed with him because what she just did, she feels horrible about it. And she just wants to be in his arms because what she did was wrong. And so she kind of realized that maybe it was a mistake. But he also is kind of hoping that maybe she might admit what she just did last night to him, even though he already knows what she already did. Now, once you have Electra get back to her dorm room, well, you have Phoebe tell Electra that she has a phone call, that something happened to her father's shop. And so she does run over to see what happened. And well, somebody committed arson to her father's business. His entire shop was just burned down, and the home he had above the shop is also burned as well. And he knows it was somebody trying to do some harm to him and his business. But as we get into the third chapter, we do see that everyone is still there, kind of surprised in what happened to Electra's father's shop. Now, with the shop now being gone, well, you do have Matt Murdock kind of being able to look around, and he does find a clue. Now, this clue is going to help out Matt down the road to figure out if this was actually arson or not, or to find the person who actually did commit arson here. But when it comes to Electra and her father, they now no longer have a home, and so they now have to stay with her sensei Stone at her place until they are able to get back on their feet. Now, that is also the moment where we do learn that Electra, Phoebe, and also Melissa have been called to student court. And the reason why, because Calvin got very upset that he was accused of assaulting Melissa, and so he called court in the university. And so now you have Foggy and Matt saying that they're going to find a way to get those charges dropped. Now, we don't know how they're going to do that, but Matt says, don't worry, we have a way. And that kind of leads into Matt Murdock going out at night and being able to sneak into the apartment or dorm room of Calvin to find any clue that can possibly help him figure out if Calvin was involved when it came to the arson case for Electra's father's shop. Now, he does get caught by Calvin, but he was able to get away, just barely though. But after that, you didn't have Calvin go pay a visit to Electra to kind of say that while going through Calvin's dorm room, he didn't find anything that really did prove that Calvin was involved in the arson case. Now, Matt Murdock is still wearing his all-black outfit and trying to pretend that he is somebody else, that he is hoping that Electra will not recognize that this guy that's talking to her right now is actually her boyfriend, Matt Murdock. But you have Matt say like, hey, he's innocent. But you didn't have Electra say, yeah, he may seem innocent, but you didn't think everything through. What if he was able to hire somebody to go burn down my father's business? And it kind of shows that Matt Murdock did not really sit down and try his best to make sure he hit all the angles before he came to Electra to say, hey, I believe he's innocent. But instead, he should have checked every angle, because now Matt Murdock kind of realized that there could be a possibility that Calvin actually did hire somebody to burn down her father's shop. So you have Matt Murdock go out in night to kind of use his enhanced hearing to hopefully figure out if somebody out there in New York is actually talking about committing the crime of arson to Electra's shop. And of course, he does find two people who actually did do it. Now, for Matt Murdock, he goes to that bar to see the two guys and he beats them down to get some information out of them. But now we're going to shift our focus over to Electra, because the following day you have Electra kind of act different. And the reason why, because she knew it was Matt Murdock who came to her the previous night. Even though he was wearing that mask, the way he was fighting, the way he spoke to her, she kind of knew, she automatically knew it was Matt Murdock. And so when she sees Matt in public, she tries to give him a small test to see if he's actually faking the whole idea of being blind. Now, Matt, he kind of saw this coming. And so he does a great job in continuing to pretend that yes, he is blind, but also the fact that he does not have any fighting skills at all, or his other senses are enhanced. And so after he gets done with her test, she kind of thinks that, okay, I made a huge mistake. This man is not blind at all, and I need to apologize to him. Which she does, but now it's kind of like, dang, Matt, you're now lying to her, which could affect them down the road. Now, the ending of the third chapter is really more Greg Rucka trying to get everything wrapped up so that he can move on from the story, because we do jump over to Calvin and his father. And you have his father going over to the district attorney to kind of make sure the case does get dropped, because we do learn that after Matt Murdock was able to beat those two guys down who did commit the crime to Electra's father's shop, they said they were paid by Calvin and his father. And so, of course, you had Matt take that evidence over to the district attorney. And right now, she's trying her best to go after Calvin. But you have his father saying, no, you will not. And listen, if you try to, I will come after you really hard. Trying to make different kinds of threats to scare her. But she does not back down at all. And this ticks off Calvin's father a whole lot, because once you have the two guys get into their limo, you have Calvin's father beat down on Calvin, saying, you are gonna fix this. This is your fault. You got involved with those girls and now they're coming after us in different angles. You are ruining our family name. So you are going to fix it. And of course, you have Calvin saying yes, but this man is so scared of his father. And so as we get into the final chapter for today's video, we do pick up with Calvin going after Melissa once again. Now, this is him trying to go after her while wearing a mask, but then he says different things to kind of tell her that, hey, it's him. Now, he has no idea that Melissa has been learning self-defense, and so she was actually able to get him off of her and get away from him. But the problem is, now she knows that it was him who was trying to attack her, and this was him trying to do what his father told him to do, which was handle the problem, try to get rid of her in some kind of way. And he tried, but he failed. But like I said multiple times in this video, Electra, she's gonna go down a dark path. And so we actually see her and also Phoebe training right now with Electra's sensei Stone. But then you have Melissa arrive. Now when she does arrive, you have Melissa inform everyone that she was able to use her newfound skills to defend herself against Calvin. But for Electra, it kind of shows that Calvin is never gonna stop. And so for Electra, she has no other choice but to actually get rid of him. But we now see Calvin going for a gun, and really Calvin's father walks into the room and he sees Calvin but has no idea that Calvin had just grabbed a gun to possibly use to handle the problem that he told his son to handle. And really he tells him one more time, hey listen, I'm sorry for hitting you, but you have to understand what's going on right now. Like, your mistake is hurting the family name. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and handle the problem. Which, of course, now with a gun, he's planning on trying to handle the actual problem. But we now shift our focus over to Phoebe and also Melissa. Now, these two characters, they're walking by Calvin talking about the idea of Electra walking through the park at night after 10, which honestly is not safe. But for Calvin, it's the perfect chance to get the jump on her and to hopefully take her out. Now, Calvin has no idea that he is about to fall into a trap. You see, Phoebe and Melissa walk by him on purpose to say those things so that he'll overhear and try to go after Electra, because she does plan on possibly, killing him. Hopefully not, but Now, once you have Phoebe and Melissa go their separate ways, well, Phoebe runs into Matt Murdock, and Matt overheard Phoebe and Melissa talking about the idea that Calvin had took the bait and Electra is gonna take care of him. And so for Matt, once he hears that, he does ask Phoebe, and she does tell him like, hey, your girlfriend Electra, she planned on doing something big to Calvin in the park after 10 tonight. And so for Matt, he knows that he has to stop her before something bad truly happens. Now, we actually do get the chance to see Electra change into her ultimate outfit, the same outfit that she is going to wear in later books down the road, like in Ultimate Spider-Man. But this is her kind of saying like, yeah, I'm going down this path right here, this dark path. I have to take care of Calvin tonight. But you do have Calvin actually go to the park looking for Electra, and this is the man saying like, hey, I'm gonna kill her. I have the gun. Once I find her, bang. Except he was completely wrong. She finds him and she actually takes him out. Now, it does seem like she's about to kill him off, which honestly she is. But you did have her be stopped by Daredevil. Now, this is Matt trying his best to have her understand that this is completely wrong. Now, at first, when he does appear, he's wearing the mask, trying to hide his identity. But he realized that if he wants her to trust him, he has to take off the mask. Except when he does, she now feels completely betrayed, because now she realized the man she fought earlier on in this book is her boyfriend. He's been lying to her. And at first, she believed it was him, but he lied to her. He pretended it was not him earlier when they had fought, when she gave him that test in the earlier chapter. But now she knows that it was her boyfriend. But on top of that, she said, I can't trust you like I can't trust the law. Because right now the law is letting this man get away with everything. Like literally, the law will always have him in their grasp and then they let him go. I can't not let the law try this again. The only way to make sure that I'm safe, my family is safe, my friends are safe, is to kill him off. Now, of course, you do have Matt being able to talk talk her down, but she says, listen, I need to know if you're on my side or their side. Like, are you on the side of the law or my side, knowing the law does not work? And so she gives Matt a choice where she goes ahead and stabs Calvin on the leg in a spot where he can easily bleed out. And she says, if you follow me and let him die, that tells me you're on my side. If you stay here and take him to a hospital to give him help, that tells me you're on the side of the law. And she leaves, but Matt does stay because, of course, he would. He's a lawyer. And honestly, the book kind of ends on that note because after that, you have Matt go home to his apartment where, he comes home, he sees Foggy, but you have Foggy say, hey, I don't know where you've been at all night, but Electra stopped by and she left some flowers for you. And for Matt, it kind of tells him that, hey, they are officially over. They're going in their different directions in life, and possibly they're going to meet down the road fighting against each other. Now, the book ends there, but there is a sequel series that came right after this one called Ultimate Electra that kind of did continue the story, and we might actually sit down and finally cover it. But this is where I'm going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.